Welcome to today's Virtual Market Open, where we celebrate the latest issuer to join the Canadian Securities Exchange. Join us as we count down to the market open and stay to learn more about the latest listing on the exchange for entrepreneurs. Together, we'll count down to the market open, and this will be followed by an interview with a company executive. Congratulations on being newly listed on the CSE. Hi, welcome to an episode of Newly Listed. Today, I'm here with Stephen Keith, CEO of Labrador Uranium. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Barrington. I'm happy to be here. I can talk about this company, and it's nice to be part of the CSE, so thank you.
Oh, no, we're very lucky to have you, and thank you for choosing the Canadian Securities Exchange as your home destination for all things going public. Now, what does Labrador Uranium do?
Happily, the name is fairly self-explanatory, but look, Labrador Uranium is a new emerging uranium explorer. We have consolidated a very significant land package of over 139,000 hectares of very prospective land in Labrador. We have historical uranium resources. We've put together an amazing both board and geological team, and we are going to go and hunt for very large deposits in an entire belt that we control, which is the central mineral belt in Labrador.
Two-part question coming up. One, why did you choose Labrador? And two, how did you get here? How did you end up with Labrador Uranium?
Okay, good question. So I'll start with the first piece. Labrador, it kind of answers both in a way. So most of my career, I've been in the resource sector since about 1996. And the great majority of my work has actually been focused on Latin America, which has been a tremendous place to work. But, you know, when the guys were putting this deal together and we started talking about it, Labrador seemed like a better and better place to be. It's very investment friendly. The Fraser Institute considers it the 8th best mining investment jurisdiction in the world. The local communities are relatively easy to deal with. And if you're open, they can be very open. And this is an area that's been explored. Like this basin that we have consolidated, this belt, has been explored for over 50 years. So there's a tremendous amount of data there. And now that we can use more modern data-focused approach, and we have the team that can do that, we can look at all this data and put it to use to find these bigger deposits that we've learned from. So Labrador, again, just jurisdiction, investment, and mining friendliness, and just its natural endowment is why we're here, and we're very excited to be. How I got here, I have a mixed background. I've done quite a lot. So I started off as a geological engineer. I was an engineer working in mining and renewable energy for a long time. Went into investment banking. Again, my focus there was mining and renewables. And I did that until clients of mine came to me with an idea of building a company. And that was where the engineer in me came back in, because I like the building rather than the financing. And so since about 2009, I've been building companies, and I think a fundamental part of companies is, you know, it's assets and jurisdictions, but most importantly for me, it's people. This is a space, like the mining industry itself is a space that I've really liked the people, and over time I've found the types of people I like to work with. And this opportunity came built in with an amazing group of people with whom I'd worked before and had a lot of respect for. So that combination of the natural endowment and the location of Labrador, plus the amazing team that this came with, it was very easy for me to make that decision.
And you made it very easy for my next question to launch into. Can you tell us a little bit about your team, or if there's somebody that you'd like to highlight in particular?
I could highlight a lot, but look, I'll start. I always look at the team as two pieces, and I'm ignoring the management side of it for now, which is first and foremost, you need a really solid board. And I find junior companies very often either have weak boards or don't use them appropriately. As someone who tends to look at things from an investor's point of view, I first look at the board because they're the people who protect your money and help drive the strategy. And so a board of Phil Williams, Richard Patricio, and Justin Reed are all established company builders. They know the markets, they deliver value for shareholders. And so that part of the team is really worth highlighting, especially from the investor perspective. And then we have to find stuff. And again, as I said before, we have this massive land package with decades of data and again, almost 140,000 hectares, right? So that is a big task to get through. So what we did, and with the guys at Altius who started this process as they consolidated it before we partnered with them, is we needed to bring something new. And that's where guys like Paul Pearson and Drew Heisman come in. So their area of focus, they're experienced geologists, but their area of focus is, again, bringing this modern data-focused approach. So they have, with their teams and groups, done things like the Galler Prize, which Paul won in Australia. Drew's up and his team are up for an award at PDAC. And their view is proper geology, really knowing what the data and information needs to be and to feed that into what I will call the AI black box. But the technology isn't the key. That's where I actually thought we'd be spending all the money. There are a bunch of things that can do this. It's about how you teach the black box to do what it does. And guys like Paul and Drew actually have the experience in doing it. And so we get to build that internally. We don't have to rely on third parties from the outside, and we'll keep bringing in experts and consultants. And Paul's done a great job of doing that. But that ability and that skill set, I think, is something relatively unique to us for a company our size. And so I think that's something worth drawing attention to.
That was a fantastic answer. I wasn't expecting that, and especially when you were talking about where the spend was occurring. I didn't see that. It's that's really good. And I have a few people in the industry, and they say the same thing. Outside of location, the board, yeah. The management, the people who are controlling it and leading it, they are the ones that will determine usually the success of the operation. So no, it's really good to hear you reinforce that.
Look, if companies are built properly, they're the ones that protect the investment on behalf of shareholders. And I think you can build a board of yes people who just do what you want. That doesn't interest me, because to pretend that I know everything is ignorant, and you need that guidance and that strategic thinking in those other minds. And I'm excited to work with these guys. No,
I couldn't agree with you more. There's other mining, mineral exploration companies, uranium companies that are out there. What would you say your biggest differentiator is versus your peers?
It's an exceptional question, and I can wave my arms around dozens of things, but I think other than the people side, which I think we've talked a lot about, is just this extraordinary land package. In the last uranium boom, there's probably half a dozen companies in here looking for uranium. What is now the Michelin deposit owned by Paladin today, and they bought that for over $250 million back in the day. We know this belt has a lot of uranium. So Michelin itself is over 100 million pounds. The asset that we brought in from Consolidated Uranium starts at a historical resource of approximately 20 million pounds of uranium equivalent. And then in between that, we own 139,000 hectares of land, plus the 50 plus years of data of the exploration, because it wasn't just the last uranium boom that saw the exploration. This has been explored for things like copper since the 70s. And no one, again, it was in dozens of hands in many places. And now, especially through the work done by guys like Altius, we're able to consolidate the whole area so that we don't have to worry about as many land boundaries if things extend. We have all that historical data, and we know there's a lot there. Our job now is to find out, is there a mine or mines, and how many are there and how big are they? But have that level of data and that large a land package when there's stuff there is really unique. And I think that's what's going to differentiate this company.
I'm a new investor. I'm just kicking tires. I'm listening to a great, wonderful podcast. What could I expect from Labrador Uranium, say in the next 3, 6, 12 months? Or I'm a current investor. What could I expect from the company that you're able to, of course, disclose?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, we're going public on the CSE, so I think that'll help our existing investors, right? So we raised just under $10 million last year, and now that the investors can do stuff with that. But look, we are an early exploration company, and so there's quite a bit of work to do, and we're going to do that in an intelligent manner. So, the first few months, we're not going to get drill results, for example. Drilling isn't going to happen, and that kind of data, hard data from exploration, we're not going to see until Q3, Q4, because we've got to get on the ground, and that's this summer. Between now and the summer and our exploration, like field exploration, is the data. Is our team is going to look through that data. Something I didn't bring up before was when Altius and the working group that we put together did their first amount of work in processing all that historical data that I keep referring to, they generated 146 targets. 70% of those were classified as high to moderate targets. So that sounds exciting. That's close to 90 targets, but that's still too many to turn into a real company or a real asset. And so our next several months is that data-focused approach and we're bringing in, and Paul and Drew are doing a great job of this, we're bringing in outside consultants and third parties who know either the data or the region or what to look for and how things were found and what came with the deposit so that we can, so we train the AI, but we need to narrow down from 140 some odd targets to 5 or 10 that are going to scream at us. So the next few months will be very data driven. We hope to be able to talk more about, therefore, what we are going to do with our field season. And then the field season is fairly straightforward. We've got the Moran Lake deposit that came out of consolidated uranium. It's got a historical resource. It's not big enough today, but we believe it grows. So how does that grow? So we need to get on the ground, do the proper geology and drill that. Along that central mineral belt, again, 139,000 hectares, we want to get on the ground and start truing up some of these targets, because one of the things is desktop studies are only as good as that. You need to then get in and prove out, why is this target being generated? What is the thing? Is it actually a uranium or a copper or IOCG deposit, or is it something else? So there's an iterative process that feeds back into the AI. So I think the next little while will be more desktop type information, coming up with the targeting and the permits. I think there's the potential always for a company like that to a little more consolidation in the region, depending on what's valuable or not. Moving into the field season in the summer, we'll have 2 field seasons, summer and winter, because obviously winter and where there's lakes and whatnot is a great time to drill. So it step by step. So data, targets, getting into the field, drilling, mapping, geophysics, repeat.
Now, I want to find out more information about you. Find out more information about Labrador Uranium. How can I reach you, and what is your trading symbol?
So we will be trading on the CSE under the symbol LUR. And if you want information on us, we've got quite a bit available. Please look at www.labradoruranium.com. We are a very open book. We try to tell people anything they want, and we're happy to talk. So if people need to reach us, we can be reached at info@labradoruranium.com. And I think, I don't know any of the handles yet, but I'll figure that one out.
Well, Stephen, it was a pleasure to have you. I just want to say on behalf of the Canadian Securities Exchange, thank you for choosing us as your home destination. I've been your host, Barrington Miller. This has been an episode of Newly Listed with Labrador Uranium. I just spoke with the CEO, Mr. Stephen Keith, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrington.